Does anyone remember when I was speaking in Kentucky when I was at the Liberty Festival this last year, and my flight got canceled? I had to get on a new flight. I ended up flying overnight and pulling into the Alltech Arena about 10 minutes before I had to actually speak after sleeping in the airport for 2 hours, and jumped right into presenting. I'm beginning to just make a habit of any of my big trips are going to have issues. So stay tuned. I'll tell you all about it. Okay, the trip out here. So yeah, getting out here was pretty crazy. There was a couple of times that I almost backed out, but I didn't want to, and I, tried to work everything out. So the first thing was that I noticed that the trailer brakes weren't working, and I had known for a while that they weren't working properly, but I didn't realize that I had no brakes on the trailer until I brought it to my friend, and he went through, looked at everything, and noticed that the last time I had gotten my trailer wiring redone, that they had rewired it backwards and they hadn't put a line for the brakes at all. So my trailer had no brakes, and then the brakes themselves were also completely useless. And so he was nice enough to go through, rewire everything, get new brakes, new bearings on the trailer, tested it with his truck, and everything was working great. So he called me, he said, pick it up, it's good to go. And we hook my truck up to it, we test the brakes, and there's no brakes. And it's a 6,000 pound trailer with horses. You have to add the horses in after that. And I'm like, there's no way that we can pull this without brakes. So we didn't really know what the problem was, but we knew it was then in my truck. So I went and checked everything out. We ended up replacing the plug-in, and that worked. So I fixed the truck just days before we had to leave. We're here getting hay. We're going to get everything that we need for the whole trip. It's about 14 bales for the 2 horses. We're going to have just a little bit extra. We're going to stack some up on the rack. We're going to stack some into the trailer, and we're going to take you along with. So come hang out. Really lucky to have such a great hay guy that is lets us just pick it up. So yeah, we'll take you along with. I think nature has a bit of a sick sense of humor, because after a super mild winter, all of a sudden in April, 2 days before I have to drive 1,000 miles to the Minnesota Horse Expo, we got a foot of snow overnight. So I just spent the last little while cleaning snow off the top of my trailer because the hay is up there and we didn't have a tarp on it or anything. So I just got all the snow off of that, and hopefully it dries out okay. And I have been organizing all my tack in the trailer, making sure I have only what I need, nothing more, nothing less. And then now I'm going to be cleaning out my truck in the snow, getting that all set up. But luckily, we do have a working trailer. We have working brakes, so that makes me a lot more comfortable with heading out in the snow. But I think it's going to clear up quite a bit by the time we leave. So fingers crossed. But right now, we have a foot of snow. So super fun. I just wanted to share that. Look, I mean, it's absolutely crazy. This is the most snow we've gotten all year. Tack room of the trailer. Doesn't look like much, but I've got a backup saddle for June, and I've got a saddle for Utah, and an extra just in case that could also fit Utah. I've got a whole bunch of bridles, neck ropes, all the pads that I need. I always like to have just a little bit extra just in case something happens last minute. So we've been cleaning that out, trying to make sure I have all my grooming tools. Good morning. It is Saturday. We are headed out today. I just got the water filled up, not before I got sprayed a couple of times. It's 21 degrees outside right now. It is beautiful, but it is cold, so that was a fun little mishap. But I just have one more little adjustment to make on the trailer, and then we're going to load horses. All right, just getting the stabilizers put on. All right, we're good to go. Time to load up horses. Made it to our first stop. The horses are riding really good. We're just gonna fill up the truck tires. I'm taking the dog for a walk real quick, but everybody's riding really good so far. So far so good, but we're only a couple hours in, so we got a long ways to go. Checking on the horses. June's riding good. This is Utah's first big trip, so he's been a little concerned, but he's doing really well. Hi, buddy. Good boy. Hi. So we are in Buffalo Gap Guest Ranch. We got a couple extra bunk beds, a little fridge, and a bathroom. Pretty sweet. And then look at this. Absolutely beautiful. So we've got this cute little fire pit area, and the horses have little corrals right over there by my trailer. And then right out there is the beautiful badlands of North Dakota. Absolutely stunning. All right, here they are. There's June, getting kind of cozy, stretching their legs a little bit. There's Utah. So it looks like they've got some, decent little spots for the night. We've got their water. It looks like Utah's already dove in just a little bit. And there's June. Looks like she also took a drink, which is great. Good morning. So we got on the road nice and early. We're already at our first stop. So we're about an hour into the trip and decided to make a quick stop at Starbucks. So we're going to go do that. But I just wanted to update that we are on the road again. Everybody's doing good. The horses did pretty good last night. Utah was a little bit nervous. This is his first big trip. So just trying to keep him kind of calm and get him a good experience. But he was a little nervous last night, but he did okay. They both loaded up real good. So everybody's doing really well. Walter is just happy to be here. Come say hi, Walter. There he is. He's having so much fun. He loves traveling, and so he's having a great time. But yeah, I just wanted to give the update. So here we are. And we're going to keep going. We're pretty tired this morning, but we got about 8 more hours to go. And then we get on the trip and everything's going fine. We get to our halfway point, and I am lucky enough to have my dad come with me. And so he was checking on the truck and everything while I was taking care of horses. And when I came back to the truck, he said, well, we've got oil leaking. So as for usual, we have a little bit of a problem. So last night we noticed that the coolant was leaking probably through the radiator in the truck. So but it seemed like a really slow leak. So we were like, okay, well, we'll just, we'll kind of sort it out in the morning. And then this morning it seems to be a lot worse. So we are trying to find some coolant so that we can refill it, but then also trying to see if maybe we can figure out where the problem is. But unfortunately, it might set our trip back a little bit. So we've got horses in the trailer. Hopefully they can hang out and bear with us a little bit. But yeah, so always got to be a problem, but it'll be fine. We're sorting it out, and I'm really glad that my dad's here because he is far more mechanically minded than I am. So he actually can help me with these problems and diagnose it. So broken. And I was like, crap. Okay, so we got to figure out. And he's like, well, it looks like oil. We got to see where it's coming from. So we, we're looking around trying to figure it out, and we're like, well, it's not oil. It's not the color of oil. And I finally was able to look at it enough and see, oh, it's got an orange hint to it. And he was like, it's coolant. So we've concluded that we think it is not a fixable problem at the moment.
We don't think it's a road fix.
It's not a road fix.
It's not a road fix.
So the fix is to keep it full of antifreeze and hope for the best. So we realized that we had a coolant leak. We didn't know how bad. And we're like, all right, well, let's load up the horses in the morning. We'll get to the next town and see if we can figure out what's going on. So we get to the next town, finally find the right kind of coolant. We get some tools to look at everything. We couldn't figure out what the damage was. We knew it was in the radiator, like and it was, you know, kind of front forward, but we couldn't see what the problem was. So we just decided that we were going to continue on the trip, and every 70 miles we had to refill the coolant. We ended up using about 3 gallons of coolant getting out here. And when we got here, my parents let me borrow a vehicle so that I could still take care of my horses, and we got my truck into the shop, and we had to get the radiator completely replaced. So we got that done. We had a few other little things that needed to be done on the truck, but now we have a fully functioning truck and trailer for the way back. But getting out here was absolutely insane, and it was a little bit more of an expensive trip than I had anticipated, but we got it done. The horses were safe. We were safe. That's really what matters. But it was tough. It was tough to get out here. All right, we just pulled in. We're finally here. We made it. Everything's safe. We're going to get the horses unloaded, and I'll try to video as much as possible. All right. Big guy. Finally, it'll be a little, might be a little stiff coming out. Hey, lad. Ooh. Hang on. I know, you're so dumb. There's your step right there. Good boy. Nice boy. All right, we'll put you up over by June. All right, it's late, but we got the horses settled. They're doing really good. June is a little bit nervous in there. She tends to be kind of buddy sour, and so she couldn't quite see Utah, but she could smell that he was there, and so she's a little bit nervous about that. So I gave her just like a little calming supplement, and I think that's going to help her a lot. She seemed to settle a little bit, start eating and drinking. So that's what we've got for the night. We've made it here, and stay tuned for our next video. And I don't know what's gonna happen. When I just pulled up, but hopefully the performance goes well. So I'm gonna keep vlogging. I'm gonna keep showing you what's going on, and keep following along for the journey.